So Samsung is about to launch the Galaxy S24 Ultra in just a few days. Just like every single time, we have even more live hands-on photos now. We have already seen this phone in this specific color like twice before. And we even had a live hands-on video. And all of these shows few things very clearly. The first one has to be this titanium gray color. It is very goldish titanium gray color and it looks super fantastic. And I think a lot of people will prefer this. But it also shows at the back the design of it is gonna be very much flat and the camera layout is gonna be identical to the S22 Ultra even. But today's photos also shows something more than that. The first one has to be the unboxing and we have the same kind of unboxing experience as the S23 Ultra. The same kind of box, no changes, nothing. Now the second photo shows something else. That the display is gonna be flat. Totally flat display. Yes, there is gonna be slight curve, but that's for the bezels and the bezels are gonna be insanely thin and they're gonna be symmetrical. This is the first time we're seeing symmetrical bezels on a Galaxy Note/Ultra device and this is so cool. So for most people who like the flat display on a Samsung Ultra or wanted this, then yeah, we are finally getting it. And if you're not a Samsung hater, then there is nothing to argue about it anymore. It's just what we wanted. Now in terms of color though, they are gonna be Samsung.com exclusive colors and out of all the colors, my favorite is still gonna be the green one, but here are other colors like the titanium black, the onyx black for the Plus and the standard model, titanium gray we have already seen in the live hands-on photos, there's gonna be marble gray for the Plus and the standard model, cobalt violet and titanium violet is gonna be there too, and definitely titanium yellow and amber yellow colors. But then we had some big news for the display. As I was talking about the bezels, Samsung will also flaunt this a lot because this is the first time they're doing it. Even though the display size is going to be identical to the last model, 6.8 inch for the Ultra, 6.7 inch for the Plus and 6.2 inch for the cheaper model. I mean, they're slightly different, like a 0.1 inch or so, but the Ultra model is still staying the same. The bezels are going to be even thinner than last year's model, even for the standard and the Plus model. But the best part is that from this photo, we can see that the peak brightness, even though we have already heard it that it is 2600 nits, the major thing, the major upgrade in the brightness department is the high manual brightness. That's going to be 1500 nits, unlike the S23 Ultra with 1200 nits of manual brightness. So even though brightness is measured in logarithmic scale, the numbers jump is still quite big and that will reflect in real life as well, hopefully. But we can see from the next slide that whether that makes you happy or not, we know that Exynos 2400 is still coming to the S24 and S24 Plus. The Ultra model will be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy in all the markets. Now, according to WinFuture, the Exynos 2400 will be powering the S24 and S24 Plus in only European markets. That's the thing. But other leakers also say that outside US and Canada, certain countries will get the S24 Plus in the Snapdragon variant, but the cheaper model, the standard S24, will be powered by Exynos 2400 in almost every other market except US and Canada. So we will have to wait for more news to confirm that, or maybe Samsung will do it. Now here we can also clearly see that there is a big jump in the CPU, GPU and NPU department compared to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy chipset inside the S23 Ultra. For example, the NPU is about 18% faster, the GPU is about 38% faster, and the CPU is about 25% faster than that chip. And that chip was already so good. Now you might be thinking, well, if that is this much powerful, then what are the Geekbench scores? Well, compared to the 8 Gen 2, they are much more powerful. The Exynos peak performance is still amazing. We can see it from the numbers. But it is always about the sustained performance. That's where the Exynos lacks a lot. And we don't know how it's gonna be. Seriously. The vapor chamber cooling solutions are going to be there to have a better sustained performance. It's going to be 1.9 times bigger in size compared to the S23 Ultra inside the S24 Ultra. And it's going to be about 1.5 and 1.6 times in the S24 and S24 Plus compared to their predecessors, respectively. So Samsung is also going to claim about 12% faster touch response for smoother gaming controls inside the S24 Ultra. I mean, the S23 Ultra wasn't slouch anyway in that department, so I don't really know. And the next slide actually shows about the cameras. Some really cool cameras. Now we know that the S24 and S24 Plus are not getting any camera upgrades in terms of hardware, but the Ultra model is getting some. Like the newer 200 megapixel camera will have sensor crop feature. And it will also allow you to have a new feature called ISOCELL Zoom Maniplex. I've explained them in the last videos many times. Anyway, there is also going to be a newer 5x camera. And this 5x camera will also be able to do the same thing, the sensor crop feature, to capture 12 megapixel 10x photos. So you're getting a much better native 10x photo than the last system. And definitely there is also going to be 100x space zoom. But what else we can see it from here? We can see that 8K videos is also going to be available for the 5x camera now because of the resolution. Its frame is actually 33 megapixels, so it's possible now. Also, Samsung will flaunt about the quad telephoto camera because of the sensor crop feature. That's why 2x, 3x, 5x and 10x optical zoom are there. Now for the Plus and the standard model, it's going to be 2x and 3x. And Samsung going to talk about the 12 megapixel digital zoom versus 50 megapixel adaptive pixel optical quality zoom because of the sensor crop feature. And on top of that, there is also going to be AI zoom for photos. Now you might be thinking, what is that? Well, there is a multi-frame processing for all the zoom ranges. The S23 Ultra can only do it at above 20x. Means when you do 20x, then it takes multiple photos and then it combines them and do AI processing to upscale the photos to the 12 megapixel resolution and make it much more like visibly good looking. But the S24 Ultra can be able to do that same thing from 1x to all the way 10x. Even if you're talking about 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. Every single time it can do all of that upscaling. So all the zoom photos technically on paper is going to be much better than the S23 Ultra. I'm saying on paper though. And yes, if you feel like you need some really cool wallpapers for your devices, whether it's a tablet or a smartphone or even a laptop, well, I have some crazy cool 8K wallpapers, stunning designs and amazing colors. Visit my website, joindavid.com, link down below. And until the next one, bye and take care.